In this video, we're going to review the appointment scheduler setup and all the options that you have to customize for your shop's needs. To navigate to that, you want to be under appointments and then click on the gear in the upper right-hand corner, and that will take you to the settings page. From there, you're going to select the shop that you want to modify. Each shop has its own settings to accommodate for shops that have different operating hours or different capacity limitations based off of that. So from there, we're going to click the shop. Now for the widget, you can do this URL. If you click that, that is going to be if you wanted to send the link to a customer. I recommend bookmarking that and sending it. So for example, within text messaging, the other piece is the code snippet that you can provide to your web team to add the actual scheduler to your website. From there, we're going to go to setting your shop hours. So the operating hours, this will be the actual operating hours of your shop, not necessarily the hours that you're going to accept appointments, but we want to know the operating hours so we can limit the where vehicles and when vehicles are being dropped off. This define limit section, the first one, the no later than. What this is doing is this is telling your customers how far into the future they can schedule. You can set this limit as far out as you would like. In this instance, we're saying no appointments more than a year into the future. Maybe whatever works for you, but that is what we have on this one. The no sooner than is how soon they can schedule. So in this instance, we only have no schedules scheduled more than 12 hours before the time they select. So even if there's availability, we don't want to get surprised if they schedule an appointment and show up an hour later. So this gives us a little bit of wiggle room. The overlap appointments, this is a number of consecutive appointments you can have within a single time block. This is going to be based off of, for example, you want all your appointments to be dropped off in the morning. Not necessarily going to get worked on, but they're going to get dropped off at that time. So you could stagger them and say, okay, I want to take 3 appointments at 8, 3 at 8:30. And so we'd want to set that overlap at 3. It'll still be based off of the capacity limits that we set here in a second, but that will say how many simultaneous appointments that we can have. We can also set what increments of time that we want the appointment availability to be set up. The options are every 15 minutes, every 30, or on the hour. Again, whatever works for your shop, that's the best. In this instance, we have availability starting on the half hours. The next section is we're going to go into the rules. This is where we're basically adding the restrictions as far as what appointments we can take. This first section really is just the messages that go through on the different types of appointments. So for example, on the tow, make sure your car is accessible at the scheduled time for vehicle pickup. There's default copy in these if you don't want to come up with your own, but obviously you can modify it to fit your individual shop's needs and specific drop-off instructions if you have a drop-off box or something like that. The next section is capacity blockers. This is where we're going to add some limits on when and where we can take appointments. So the first one is schedule blockers. So this specific section is these are one-time schedule blocks. So in this instance, you can see we have Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, Labor Day as days that we're not accepting appointments for operating hours. But this would also be one if your shop's really backed up and you're trying to have a day for catch up for getting caught up. Say you're not going to take appointments on the third Friday from now. You can select that here. When you're selecting it, you'll select your date range and then appointment type, whether it be drop-off, waiter, or pickup. If you do not select an appointment type, it will apply this schedule blocker to all of the available appointment types. The next one would be a repeating schedule blocker. This is just like before, but this is one where it's recurring. So in this instance, we have set each day that the shop is open that we're not going to accept waiter appointments from the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. close. This can be, you could add your lunch breaks if you're not accepting appointments during lunch breaks, but this is where you do the recurring. And just like on the single instance of schedule blockers, you can either do it by specific appointment type, or if you leave blank, it will apply it to all of the various appointment types. The next one is the maximum appointment cap. This is where we're going to set the limit on the number of appointments that we're accepting. So again, select it by different appointment type, just as the other ones. If you leave it blank, it will apply to all of the various appointment types. But in this example, we've said we don't want to see more than 6 waiters per day and no more than 10 drop-offs per day. Totally customizable for you as far as what fits your shop's needs and capacity. The next one is vehicle appointment. This is where we're going to set the blocks of appointments for vehicle manufacturers and vehicle years. So, for example, if you're a European shop, this would be one where you would add all the vehicle makers outside of your European shop. Or you can also select the limits. So, if you don't work on anything pre OBD2, you would just add these blockers and you're not going to see those. You can also set the number of max vehicles. So, if you leave it blank, it's going to apply to all of them. But say perhaps you're okay with working for older vehicles, but you don't want to overload your schedule with it. You can select that date range here, the max number, and how frequent you want to see it. Maybe you only want to see one pre-OBD2 max a week or even per month. So you can set that so you get the right mix of work that you want to see into your shop. The next one we're going to look at is the waiter capacity. So this is the max number of simultaneous waiters. So maybe it's one, maybe it's two. This specifically one is a tire shop based off of the tire machines and what they have available. They have it set up the max number of two waiting appointments. So they have the right equipment, the right staff to handle there. Drop-off capacity. This is where you can toggle off. If you offer loaner cars or a shuttle, disabling it, it's not going to show it as an option for a customer. But then you can also have the max number of drop-offs. Again, you don't want to schedule 5 shuttle rides all at once and not being able to accommodate them. If you're using internal shuttle, obviously, if you're using Uber or Lyft, something like that, that may not be a concern. In this particular instance, there are no limits as far as the number of types of these appointments because there isn't an issue right there. The next one is pickup capacity. So this is, do you offer towing service or shop pickup? This instant shop pickup would be is if you were going to people's houses and picking up their vehicles, what the intent is here, and then tow truck for disabled vehicles. So the max daily and set the max number that you want to do. Maybe you don't want any max daily tow pickups in as many as you want, but again, it may be an issue related to your parking lot. Maybe you can't accommodate space-wise more than 6 or maybe even more than 1 or 2 disabled vehicles per day. The next one is kind of the miscellaneous catch-all. And what this is actually, it's a single service duration. So what this is based off of the services that you have set up. You say your client selects 6 different slots that are each an hour duration service. We don't want that to block up the schedule too much because maybe a lot of those services overlap with each other. And so as far as scheduling purposes and amount of time it's going to take on the schedule, we have it where it's going to do the max duration of the single service that's on there. And again, the reason for that is just to not block off your schedule. The next one is recommendations. So this one's nice is we're looking when they're doing the schedule, if you refer to the customer side walkthrough of how far into the past they can see declines and how far into the future. So in this instance, the lower limit is no past decline services are going to show that are more than 12 months old as the date of the scheduling or 2 months in the future. Again, set these capacity, but the goal is we're recommending decline services and future services due that are appropriate for the time period and that customer that's coming in. The next one is vehicle blockers. This allows us to add specific vehicles that we don't want to see into the shop or specific years of vehicles, just more ability to customize what types of vehicles that you see into your shop. Then the last section is the notification sections. So this is going to be what messages go through to your customers for various items. So this first one is the confirmation for the customer widget. So this is going to be when you have a client schedule on your website, this is going to be the confirmation text of basically this one is your appointment date and time that it's been scheduled. The next one is the confirmation message if you were to schedule it through HighBeam on your own without your customer. The next one is reminder messages. You can set up multiple reminder texts here. You can also set up items within the campaigns, but it's easiest to do it here. In this instance, we have just 24 hours before their appointment time that they're going to get a message reminding them of their car. The update message, so that one is going to basically tell them if something's been edited in the system. Anytime you edit an appointment, there is a toggle of sending the customer the update. So if you're moving things around on your schedule, you want the customer to know, fantastic. This would be an instance of you toggle this on, and that message would be they call wanting to reschedule to a different date or time. Waiter references. This will again give them whatever type of appointment, so instructions of what they need to be aware of when waiting. Same thing with drop off. Again, this is where you give them information within the appointment confirmation of where to park their vehicle, where to put their keys, etc. Same thing with tow pickup. Again, letting them know what they need to know for tow pickup. Shop pickup, that would be you going to their house and picking up a vehicle, of what they need to know, so we can try to get all the information to your client as soon as possible, so we can set their expectations so they can have the best experience in working with your shop. The next one is the repair order completed message. So this would be when a repair order is marked complete in your shop. If you want to automatically send a message, that will send that to the customer. Whatever you want it's toggled off in this instance. But for example, if you just want to detail, as soon as your advisor marks it complete, instead of them needing to go in and manually let the customer know that their vehicle is ready, you can have a default message of your vehicle is ready to pick up. We're here until 6 p.m. or whatever you may want. The next one's appointment deleted message. This would be when they're calling to cancel. Again, if you want that message to be automatic when they cancel, so they get the confirmation, or if just you're deleted off your schedule, they'll get this message. And the last one is asking for a review. So again, this would be once they complete their appointment, type a message, put your GMB listing or whatever review service in there that they can get that. And anything, obviously, with all these others, you're going to hit save changes to save it. Once you've done all of this information, your setup is complete. Just make sure you hit save, so all of your changes are saved, and you are set up and ready to accept online appointments that are integrated into your shop management system, making life easier for you and your customers.